All right, guys, welcome to Coronavirus Earth Science. We're on weather day 12, intro to station models. Now, listen, I'm not going to lie. I really like these. They're kind of fun. That just explains how cool I am. Anyways, happy Friday. Make sure that you get both of these things done today in order for me to grade them tomorrow, which is Saturday morning. Don't forget, your CASA Learning is counting as a homework grade, and then your lab is your lab grade. So make sure that you get them done and on time and do a good job, okay? So, how do we read information from a station model? We'll get into it, but before we get into it, let's check out a couple Regents questions. A weather instrument is shown below. Which weather variable is measured by this instrument? So first thing that I'm going to point out to you is that it says the unit is millibars. And once you see that, that should be a dead giveaway. And then the other thing is that it's also got descriptions of the weather: stormy, rain, change, fair, very dry. And these are all things that we can look at when describing air pressure. Okay, next one, the diagram below shows how prevailing winds cause different weather conditions on the windward side and the leeward sides of a mountain range. So clouds usually form on the windward sides of the mountains because this is where the air will do what? All right, and if you chose choice one, you are correct. So just a quick little review because we can. Remember, this is going to be your low pressure side. This is going to be your high pressure side. Okay, this is going to be warm, wet air that's rising. It's going to cool, it's going to condense, and you're going to get your rain on this side. And that's why on this side, on the windward side, is where you're going to end up seeing things like rainforest. Then over here on your high side, now you're cool, now you're dry. And since it's cool, it's dropping. And then when it gets down to the bottom, it's going to be warm and dry. And that's why you find your deserts here. Okay, so this is a pretty important thing. Anytime you have a mountain range that borders with the ocean, you're going to see this mountain effect, where on the windward side, on the ocean side, you have rainforest, and then on the opposite side of that mountain, you're going to find your deserts. All right, so, wow, look at that. Guess what? We're heading this way. We're going to, by the end of this lesson, you're going to be able to understand what each one of these little symbols mean. Okay, pretty nifty stuff. So this is a weather station model, all right? It's basically a coded symbol, and it tells you all the information that you would want to know about that place, given all these numbers, all right? And the good thing is that our reference tables give us a key that explains everything, and that's on page 13, all right? So it tells you what each number in each location represents. So anything in the top left is going to be temperature. Bottom left is going to be dew point. Remember, when the temperature equals dew point, you get rain, right? It's going to tell you visibility. So how far can you see with the naked eye? It's going to give you what is the present weather symbol. Present weather, which is right here, and then down here, these are all the different possible symbols that you could find. It's going to tell you pressure, which is right here. Now, I'm going to give you a little hint, or something really important to remember. In a station model, that is in a coded form. We're going to have to convert that. So 196 here is really this. So we're going to have to go over converting back and forth. This is the barometric trend. So is pressure rising or falling? Remember, if it's rising, higher pressure is coming, nicer, cooler, drier weather's coming. If pressure's falling, that means low pressure's coming, which means bad weather's coming, right? This is precipitation, how much it's rained in the past 6 hours. And then you have your wind speed and wind strength. So look, this, I call this the flagpole. This is where it's coming from. All right, so if it's coming from the southwest that you see here, that means that it's really blowing northeast. Okay, and then these, the flags or feathers, are telling you how strong it is. All right, so a whole feather is 10 and a half a feather is 5. So you're always going to round to the nearest 5, okay? Or increments of 5. So it's either going to end in a 5 or end in a 0, okay? So let's get cooking. So the first thing we're going to have to do is go over how to convert those codes, okay? So if this is normal, this is barometric pressure, and we have to get it into the coded form. The way that you're going to do that is pretty simple. You're going to get rid of the 9 or 10 in front. So in this example, there's a 9 in front, so you cross that out. If there was a 10 in front, you'd cross out the 10. You're going to lose the decimal and lose the units. And then whatever's left behind is your code. So for this one, you would write 825. Okay, pretty simple. It always has to have 3 digits. Even if it ends up with zeros or only 2 numbers, you add in the zeros at the end. So for these 3 examples, take a look. We're converting it into the coded form, so we have to have 3. So you're always going to get rid of the 9 or the 10 in front. You're going to lose the decimal. Here there was none, but let's assume it's gone. And you're going to lose the unit. Okay? So for this one, it's 982. This one is 000. And this one, 80, right? But we're just going to add a 0 at the end. All right? Because you have to have 3 digits. All right? So this is the procedure, the method that you're going to do when you are making a station model, okay? So, fine, now we have to work it backwards. Sometimes we have a station model and they're asking us what is the pressure, so we have to take it out of the coded format. And these are the rules that you need to follow. And it's going to take a little bit of time to remember them. So, you have to look at if that number is greater or less than 500, okay? If it's less than 500, if it's a smaller number, you're going to put a 10 in front, okay? So like that. If it's more than 500, let's say 500 or more, you're going to put a 9 in front, okay? Add your decimal between the last 2 digits and add your units. Okay? That's it. Okay? So here's a couple examples. Okay? So again, I'll walk you through them. So here it's 050. First thing, is it greater or less than 500? If it's less than, which it clearly is, you put a 10 in front, put your decimal between the last 2, and you put your units. So that's your answer, okay? This one, 875, that is more than 500, so you put a 9 in front. Decimal goes between the last 2, unit. 275 is less than 500, so you put a 10, decimal, units. Pretty easy. You'll get the hang of it as you practice more. Just remember, if it's a smaller number, you're putting a 10. If it's a larger number, more than 500, you're putting the 9. The decimal and the units, that's pretty easy. All right, so how are you going to make a station model? All right, so I'm going to walk you through this, how to do it. So the first thing is cloud cover. Actually, I forgot to tell you guys that. In the very beginning, cloud cover is basically, if it's 100% cloudy, you color in that circle 100%. I'll go back to make sure I'll show you guys what I'm talking about right here. This part. That is 75% shaded in. That means that it is 75% of the sky in that area is going to be cloudy. Okay? If it was overcast and it was all cloudy, it would be all shaded in. If it was a clear day, it would be all white. Okay? That's how you do those questions. Okay, so here cloud cover is 100%. So I am going to color it in 100%. Nice and easy. Okay, check. Temperature is 30 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, remember, you don't put any of the units, you just put the numbers. Temperature always goes in the top left. Dew point is 30. Dew point goes in the bottom left. This is all from the key in your reference table. The present weather is hail. If you look it up on those symbols, hail is a triangle. Wind is coming from the southeast. Southeast is this way, okay? And the wind speed is 35 knots. So every 10 is going to be a long feather, and then the 5 is a half a feather. So that's 35 knots. Visibility is 3/4 of a mile. All right, pressure, here we go. We got to convert it, right? So you lose the 9, lose the decimal, and lose the unit. So you're going to write 782. That's where the pressure goes. And then last one, precipitation, goes in the bottom right. All right? What's the relative humidity here? Well, let's take a look. Our temperature and our dew point are equal. So that means it's raining. It says hail, which is a type of precipitation. It's got basically, that's a low pressure, right? 9782, that's a lower pressure. And it's 100% cloudy. So that means we got 100% relative humidity. Okay? All right, so summary. What is the air pressure indicated on the weather station model below? So here is our pressure, right? That is less than 500. So you will put a 10 in front and the decimal and the unit, right? Next one, which weather station model represents the location with the greatest probability of precipitation? All right, which one's the cloudiest? Which one has the dew point and the air temperature closest to each other? That looks pretty simple to me. That's going to be, oh, I went out of order. Crap. That's what I was talking about. 1. And then this one, which weather station models represents the pressure of this? So this you would have to convert. So 092 would be the pressure, and the temperature would be 75. And just make sure that they're in the right spots. So that would be 4. All right, so this is what I want to go over with you, and then I'm going to let you guys do the rest. So this and this we just did right here. Okay, I'm going to do this page with you, and then you guys will do this for homework. And again, I'll post the key for this one. So take a look. In order to predict the weather, meteorologists gather information from several weather stations. Okay. Below is an example using page 13, fill in all the stuff. All right, so what does all this stuff represent? Top left is always going to be the temperature. That symbol, number 2, that's going to be your present weather. Number 3, that 36 is the dew point temperature. 4, let's say 4 is pointing at the little flags, the feathers. That's giving you wind speed. 5 is pointing at the flag pole, is giving you wind direction. Okay? 6, bottom right, precipitation, how much has fallen. 7 is the pressure trend. Has it risen or fallen? This is our pressure. And 9 is pointing at the circle that's colored in. That's telling us cloud cover. Okay? So fine. So that's what everything represents. Remember, you always have your reference tables to help you. They're all gimme questions. Okay? That's good. All right. So this is not a question. It's just telling you to practice converting. All right, convert the barometric pressure on the above weather station model. That's the only part. So it says 996. That is greater than 500. So you put a 9 in front. Decimal and the unit. Okay? Number 4, this is the one that I really, really care about the most. All right, how do I know that a weather station, that one of these models can tell us if it's going to rain or not? Okay, so the number one, the easiest thing to look at is the present weather symbol, right? So present weather symbol. All right, if it says anything like rain, fog, hail, sleet, snow, thunderstorms, all that tells us bad weather or rain. The next thing, it's a big one, when the air temperature equals the dew point temperature, right? We know that, and we've discussed that at great length. That is how we know it's going to rain, if those two temperatures are equal or if anything close to each other. Number 3, look at the cloud cover. If it's super cloudy and it's 100% cloudy, that means that there's a lot of condensation, that the air temperature has met the dew point, that the air is saturated. It's probably raining or gonna rain. And then the last thing, take a look at that pressure trend, okay? If it is a negative sign, that means that pressure is falling. That means that you're getting closer to low pressure, okay? So this is what I want you guys to do. You got 6 examples. So each column is a weather station, and you are to draw them down here. All right, pretty simple, self-explanatory. All right, remember, if it's clear, you keep the circle blank. If it's overcast, that means that it's 100% cloudy, so you would color it all in. All right, good luck, and happy Friday. Make sure your lab and your Castle Learning are done.